Misleading listener.
Woo! Hey.
Hi. Today is a surprise.
Yeah, it is.
Surprise. Sometimes you make a plan and the plan does not work out.
Yep.
And that is okay.
Yep.
Yep.
We had a whole podcast planned with an awesome guest, and then half of it disappeared. And so here we are the night before releasing this episode, and we're like, yep, we're just going to press record. There's going to be no editing on it. That's just how we got, sometimes our best laid plans just go to shit. And it's one of those days. So here you go, unfiltered.
Have you ever seen that video? We're doing it live.
Yeah. What's his name again? Bill. What's his name?
It was the news, right?
It was Fox News. He's got like, really blue eyes.
We're doing it live.
We'll put it in the show notes. It's Bill O'Reilly. That's who it is.
Yes.
Bill O'Reilly. And he's screaming. And that's kind of what our day is like today. There's just so much. But you know what? We're saying F it. We're doing it live. So we're not doing it live, but this is the best. This is the closest to live we're going to get.
Do you guys remember when we started on Instagram?
Yeah.
And it was all live? Mm-hmm. So here we are. And hopefully, hopefully better than we used to be at live. I think we were pretty good.
I think we were good then. I think we're better now.
I think a little questiony of ourselves. And still I have that, but not today. Just kidding, because I just did it. All right. So it's live. Here we are. We can't edit because we don't have time.
Like we could say the dumbest crap right now. We have to keep it. Like I could be like, and like it's in there. What dumb?
I'm so excited. Are you still here? Good. I'm so glad you're still here.
Great.
All right. So, just a quick thing. Mm-hmm. I got my nails done. I've been getting my nails done. I have a place really close by. I wrote in my gratefulness journal that I am so grateful for these ladies down the street from my apartment who do amazing work for cheap. And so I have my nails done, $40.
Nice.
And, it has been quite the last couple of weeks. And so when I got home, I thought, it's time for Wicked nails. So for those of you who are listening and not watching, they are Elphaba green. And I don't know that I've ever talked about my Elphaba thing. I have a broomstick tattooed on my arm, which is my big old, if you are watching, you can see.
Now, just to give some context, Elphaba is the main character, the Wicked Witch of the West character from the musical Wicked. Yes. And so it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, sort of more from the perspective of the Wicked Witch of the West.
The backstory.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, here's something you might know, Carrie, but you guys don't know. My mother used to call herself, since I was a kid, the Wicked Witch of the West. So since I was little, I've had an obsession with the Wicked Witch of the West. So my aunt lived in New York and my mom lived in Colorado and Arizona. So she called her the Wicked Witch of the East.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the East, the Wicked Witch of the East is the one who
got the house dropped on her.
She got the house dropped on her. My gosh.
You've been in Tennessee too long.
I sure have. Okay, so she dies, but then the Wicked Witch of the West is the one that is in most of the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
That melts.
But my aunt is alive, so that's good.
Yes, that is very good.
But yeah, so I've loved that idea of being like, ooh, and I got to play her actually for a couple of weeks in a Wizard of Oz show after I was the Good Witch for a long time. Anyway, but the first show I ever saw was Wicked, the first Broadway show.
Me
on
too.
Tour. Really?
Yes. Yes. Oh, and can we just talk about, okay, so there's this song for all the people that are not familiar with the show, which by the way, get yourself a ticket in New York, see Wicked. It is one of the best musicals I have ever seen. If you want to be if you want a transformative experience, see that show because my husband is not a huge musical person. He's a musical person, but he's not a musical theater type of a person, and that is a
Mm-hmm.
whole other thing. So we got tickets to Wicked, and there's this song right before intermission where she kind of comes into her own moment, and she sings this song called "Defying Gravity." And there's this point in the song where she, I can't remember, they're like, "Oh, her," and she's like, "No, she's not the one you want." I'm probably butchering the words, so it's fine. Don't come for me. And she's all, "It's me." And then they pull her up on this thing, and she becomes fully like the Wicked Witch of the West, and it's amazing. And then she sings the last part of the song. Okay, so that happens. The curtain goes down, the lights come up. Seth and I look at each other. We are sobbing. Both of us. My husband, who does not generally cry about such things, is sobbing. And I was like, "This Broadway thing is all it's cracked up to be." And he was all, "It is." Like, we were pathetic. But all that to say, it is so good. Emily, continue.
So first Broadway show that it was on tour. I was in Denver. Real quick backstory over here. I took my dad for his birthday. I had just gotten divorced. So Wicked just celebrated its 20th anniversary
Oh
on
my
Broadway.
gosh.
Just crazy.
I remember when it came out.
Is it 20th?
I think you're right because I think it came out the beginning part of college for me, and that was 2003, 2004. So I think it's 20.
Wow. Okay. So here we are old.
Yeah.
Great. So it was, I think, one of the first tours. I had just gotten divorced, and my ex-husband, um, his parents took him out of the will because I was an actor, and they were
Because
super
wait,
Christians, and they said, "You cannot." Yes, we don't want our kids, the younger ones, to be raised by someone who lies for a living, meaning me. Yes. So they took him out of the will, and he tried to get me to not perform. And he was like, "You just want people to look at you." Anyway, so it was shortly after my divorce, and I took my dad for his birthday to see Wicked. And that moment happened. I cried through most of the show because it was so gorgeous, just the spectacle and everything. And at the end, he bought me a little snow globe with alphabet in it that played Defying Gravity. And he said, "Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't do this."
mm,
And that's a story that makes me cry. So, anyway, I have brought that little snow globe with me everywhere. And when we got to New York, I put her on the seat driving. She sat on the
mm.
seat um, in a little like nest of soft things. And when we got here, I said, "We're here, bitch," and I put her in the window. So anyway,
Yeah.
then this past, which is what we're going to talk about some today. This past weekend, I got to sing subbing on a tour with a Broadway star, which was very cool. And that experience was incredible. I got to sing with a symphony, and she was so inspiring. But anyway, when I got home, I thought, okay, I just did my first presentation for the National Association of Teachers of Singing. I just did this tour subbing with a person who is incredible and from Broadway. And she actually was in The Wiz live. So all
Wow.
of this is connected. We've talked about The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about Wicked. Now we're talking about The Wiz. And so I thought, I'm going to get green nails
Yeah.
and celebrate my best life with the Wicked Witch of the West.
I love
So yeah,
that.
that's uh that's a long story, but it was, yeah,
You
I
know what?
thought
I think
green is it.
it is really, really important to have, because our dreams are kind of up here in our brains. I think
Mhm.
it's really important to have a physical manifestation of what we want and hope to create out here in the
Mm,
physical, like your snow globe, like your
mhm.
nails. Those things are so incredibly important to keep reminding us, hey, this is not just a thing in your head, this is real.
Mhm.
And we're we're going to remind ourselves with this tangible object in case we ever forget, because dreams are slippery things.
Mm,
They're things that sometimes feel like they're way farther away than they are, and we need things and people to keep us engaged on that dream.
totally true. Recently, I've been listening to A Soft Place to Land by
From
Sarah Bareilles from Waitress, which
Mhm.
is the first Broadway musical I saw on Broadway, actually. And that song is all about dreaming and the different ways we need dreams. And I don't know about you, but I've kind of villainized dreaming
Mm.
um, in my life sometimes because it's that whole you can wish in one hand and shit in the other thing. And sometimes dreams feel like worthless. If you only think about doing something, then you might not ever do it. But we also need dreams in order to move forward. We need hope. And like you said, maybe a tangible thing that we can look at and remember who, again, no editing, like who the fuck we are
Mhm.
and what we want. Um, so that song, maybe in show notes, I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
A soft place to land. And my favorite version is the Sarah Bareilles version.
She is so good.
It's stupid.
She's so good. I'm going to start
It's
writing
stupid.
down show notes because that's going to help me later. Okay,
So we
so
got we're doing it live.
we're doing Yep,
And
a soft place to land. I'll also put in I'll put in probably the Wikipedia page to Wicked if people want to know more about it.
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
But yeah, I think it's important to have people, like you said, and things that remind us of it's not even dreams like they're a to-do checklist, but dreams like something to hope for,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um,
Girl, I get it. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
so yeah, um, people
Yeah, tell me more about
who
that.
I want you to tell
Oh,
me something.
okay.
You tell me something.
Alrighty.
Who are people who have inspired you to continue to do things that you cared about? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
when you didn't even feel that way,
Mm-hmm.
about continuing.
Yeah. Oh, Emily, you always ask me questions that I have not practiced in the car beforehand or in the
We're doing it
shower.
live.
We're doing it live. All right. Well, since we're doing it live, um, every single time I listen to or read several authors, Neil Gaiman is one of them, and what's his name? David Sedaris is the other one.
Oh my God, I love him.
Every single time, especially when I listen, because for me, writing is one part. The other part of why I want to be a writer is so I can narrate my own audiobook. It's an absolute dream for me. And so I listen, both of these writers have amazing, they narrate their own things
Mhm.
wonderfully, impeccably. And it's part of the joy of reading their stuff is having them actually read it to me. It's a layer of artistry that
Mm.
for me is so essential when I'm reading their books. So when I when I hear Neil Gaiman read Coraline or The Ocean at the End of the Lane or whatever it is, it just jolts me. I go, I want to play too. I want to wait. I want to play. I want to play. Come on, Neil. I want to play. And it is, and same with David Sedaris when he's writing about his family, especially, and he's talking, about their antics and the funny way and his macabre humor and all of that. It makes me want to play with words and experiences around me. And so those people are hugely inspiring. Now, I don't know either of those people in real life. Hope to one day. Hey, Neil and David, do you want to be friends?
What's up?
Yeah,
What's up?
I'm not weird, I promise.
You're weird, but not like in a
I
scary
mean,
way.
not in a. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not a stalker, but I do like you guys a lot. But yeah, but I think too, my life partner is a constant source of inspiration, and he's constantly reminding me that the things that I think of and the things that I dream about are actually tangible, where I don't know if I would believe that they are had it not been for him. What about you?
Oh, I love that. So I have people in my life that propel that idea. My parents made this huge mistake of convincing me that I am special.
Mm.
And so they have been instigators of, well, but it's you, you can. And I appreciate that about them. At times I've been like, why did you make me believe I was special? I wish I could just like Homer Simpson myself into the bushes of life sometimes, but damn it, mom and dad, you made me think I could do it. Do more than the bushes. That's weird. Anyway,
Hey.
okay. So, I will tell you about a recent story. I forgot to put my phone on do not disturb, so I'm just doing that right
Me
now.
too. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah,
All
we're doing it
righty.
live.
Doing it live.
This is a drinking game now. If you guys are listening to this on the weekend at night, just every time we say we're doing it live.
Take a drink.
Of lemonade.
Or
Okay.
water. You're probably dehydrated.
Yeah, aren't we all? So this last couple weeks, as I mentioned, crazy town. I did two things I was really scared of. And recently, I'm being really vulnerable here. I've been struggling with some social anxiety issues that I didn't know it were social anxiety. I was like, what is wrong with me? And then I realized it's being in my apartment a lot. And after, let's see, 24 years or so of wanting to be in New York, and I'm finally here. I don't think people talk a lot about the New York depression can hit you and the anxiety and all those things. I didn't think about that. I thought this might be hard, but I didn't think about that. Anyway, so I've been kind of anxious. And then, of course, this last 2 weeks, I had some stuff I was so afraid of. One of those things, like I said, speaking for the National Association of Teachers of Singing, which I competed in their air quote auditions when I was like 15.
So did I.
You did?
Yeah,
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
by the way, for all the choir students out there, it's colloquially known as Nats. If that rings a bell.
Nats. Yep. And so I had some interesting experiences with classical voice and musical theater that I had some teachers that were not kind, that were like, you're going to hurt yourself, all these things. But I also had great teachers, one being Carol Ann Niles, who was also your teacher, I think, right? So she was amazing. But here we are, 25 years after I competed, and at a time when I was told, I could hurt myself and that I had to do it this way. Now I'm being brought into the the same place and being asked to talk about contemporary music. That was terrifying. I
Bam.
shook. I have not been a shaker in my life, really, except for when I was much younger. So I was shaking at the beginning and I was like, all right, well, I'm nervous. Anyway, moved through that. Then I had this Broadway sub gig. The woman's name is Capathia Jenkins. Which is
Capathia.
like the best name ever.
Capathia. Yes.
The only thing that beats that name is her as a human being and
Wow.
a singer. I I will cry again. I was so inspired by her in general. Listening to her while I was rehearsing, um, her voice is incredible. And
Mm.
and dare I say perfect.
Wow.
Like, yeah. And I teach voice. I know about singing. I know about voice. And we're all human. We all mess up and have little quivers and things. This woman's voice is impeccable. It is
Wow.
incredible. So I find out she will practice her shows every day, fully just practicing. She shows up to the theater 2 or 3 hours early. She has a routine she does. This is her life. And we were at breakfast the day before the show. And she was like, "Thank you so much for all of your prep for this." And I told her I was scared. And she gave me this beautiful, she's like, "I teach the master classes and I think about my younger self when I was so scared to be on stage, my first Broadway shows." She has been in Civil War. She's been in Newsies. She's
Wow.
been in The Wiz Live, as I mentioned. I mean, a myriad of other things. And she said, I get sad. I could cry for how scared I was. And she said, "Emily, I've learned you just have to do it scared.
Mm.
You're going to be scared. And if you're not scared, then you're not where you're supposed to be." And I've heard that before, but then she said, "You know that excitement and fear are two sides of the same coin. We've literally talked about this." Yes, I know. She said, "You just have to open your arms." And she put her arms out. She said, "And run at that fear, because on the other side of that is immense joy." And she's like, "When I go on stage, I feel this joy and I just run into it." I kid you not. She's standing on the like off stage. I can see about to be announced to come out, and she's in this like meditative place. And when she rounds the corner, she looked at the audience and she bends down, right, and she opens up her arms just like she said, and she looks like a little kid that has just seen their dad or something after a long time, or like a little like that, not even a little kid, but like a person who saw someone they loved. She's looking at the audience, and I'm serious. This entire show is love and joy just
Mm.
pouring out of her. And I almost forgot to sing. I was just so overcome with joy. And when I got afraid the second show, I got my shaky nervousness. I just looked at her and I thought, joy is right over there.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I was so inspired. I felt surrounded not just by her, the other backup singers that I knew, one of them, I had subbed for another one of them actually from Denver, were so kind and so amazing. And surrounding yourself with people that are like that, it's like, God, I could wrap myself in a blanket of this sound because they
Mhm.
were so talented, but also just this joy and love and support that, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
That was a long story, but it's a good story.
No, no. So just so everyone knows, Emily called me right after or like maybe like shortly after she had this gig. And I was like, how did it go? And she told me the story. And I got like chills down my arms because I think it's such a good reminder to surround yourself with people that believe it's possible, what you're doing is possible. Reflect that back to you, because there's going to be times when you're like, it's not possible. And they're like, no, it is. I see it. I see potential there. And I'm just going to reflect back that dream and that goal that you told me about, because I will hold hope for you, even when you can't see it or feel it.
Yes.
And it's so important to surround yourself with those people that also believe that what you can do is possible, but then are also doing it in their own lives.
Yes.
It's huge.
And, we're not all going to be all the time moving in infinite joy, right? But there are people that live in this place that feel the absolute gratitude and joy of getting to do what they're doing.
Yep.
And I think we, as artists, see a lot of the opposite of that. The jaded kind of attitude. And I think sometimes, for me, sometimes it's insecurity or it's fear that maybe I should be a little less excited because this might go away, or I might look stupid because I feel joyful in my job, but there are people out there, you guys, that you can be near that are living their lives in gratitude, like we talked about a few episodes ago. And like you said, are reflecting that back to you and encouraging you. It's just like they exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder how much, like, if you're not feeling like you're getting traction or you're not feeling hopeful, I wonder if you took stock of the people around you. And I want to emphasize, I don't believe there are good people and bad people. I just think that that's way too, humans are too nuanced and complicated for those labels. But
Agreed.
I do think that we have a limited amount of time here on this earth. Why not, if we have the choice, which we do, most of us do, why not use that time to surround yourself with the people that give you the best opportunities to succeed, and for whom you can also raise up and reflect back to them their dream. It's a reciprocal thing. So I wonder if you're struggling with seeing it or believing the thing for yourself, are you surrounding yourselves with people that also believe that it's possible for themselves, but also for you?
Yeah. Man, and I also, yes, and I think we're going to be in situations, maybe bands or our day jobs or our studio or whatever, with people that aren't like that. And that doesn't mean that you have to not deal with that and quit your whatever. But seek out, in addition to all of those dark things that might be kind of weighing you down, seek out the people who are joyful, who are moving forward. They don't have to be a Broadway star or like a famous person to be joyful. P.S. I've met many people who are just in love. I remember in my younger days being like, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this? And I got this gig and they're not paying that well. And coming across people who were like, oh, I just love singing, or I just love playing. And I'm like, what? And they're just doing bar gigs too, being happy that they're doing it, that they're like out there working and pushing and singing and playing, So they don't have to be like you have to have access to these huge players because you don't have to be famous to have a huge heart
Mhm.
and to be a person who reflects back joy and love. And actually, Sarah Mount is one of those people to me that we have had on the show before. She's a person who is, well, I mean, she's kicking ass. It's not, but she's not, she just played Red Rocks.
Oh my
Sorry, that
gosh.
reminded me. So she's doing big things, but there are people in your communities, in your lives that you can seek out and say, I being around you makes me feel like I want to be happier and better, and I want to be that for you. So
Yep.
it doesn't have to be just the Broadway stars and their backup singers.
Yep.
Um,
You know who's like that for me in my life?
who?
You.
What?
You are one of those people in my life.
Really?
Of yes. And I know this could quickly devolve into, one big love puddle, but like Emily, yes. You have always had dreams and always, I think, on some level believed that they were achievable. And you've always encouraged me. I remember thinking like, oh, Emily thinks that's possible. Like, I wonder for me, like, what's possible for me. Like, I know her and she's great and she's a real person. Like, maybe I can do that thing too, or a different thing, or whatever it is. So, and you've always been very encouraging. You're a very encouraging believer in the people that you love.
Hmm. Thank you, friend.
Yep.
I'm just gonna cry the whole episode. So
That's okay. We're
because
we're doing it live and we're
we're
doing
doing it
it
live.
scared.
There, take a sip of water. I feel the same about you. I mean, I remember when you had me teach one of your, um, what did you call it? See, it was like girls who were afraid
Yep.
of singing or
Yep.
something.
So I had
Yeah.
a series of things that I was like, what are we afraid of? Okay, we're afraid of, at least it was all things that I was afraid of, and then I would just invite people on whatever journey it was. And so I had like girls who play football because I was scared of football, and then one of them was like, even though I'm a singer, there's totally an element of scariness about singing. I don't care who you are. And so we had you come in. I invited a group of girls, women, to get together, and you came to, and you taught a class, and the the girls, I'm acting like they're like 8. The women that came said, and they're almost all of them were singers or had
Mm-hmm.
sung in some capacity. They all agreed that was the best singing, teaching, pedagogy type of a class that they've ever taken. It made the
Really?
most sense to them. Yes.
I did not know
Well,
that.
now you know.
Guess what I just remembered?
What?
Do you remember what you sang at that class?
I sang Defying Gravity,
From
baby.
Wicked.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Yep.
That's crazy. Well, so I said that to say you have always been such an encourager yourself and instigator of good things in my life. And you listen, I mean, even in front of people on this podcast, you listen, you are just such a source of joy and love all the time. And you are incredible. You guys were just, you're witnessing just us mushing at each other about that's mushiness
But I
at
think
each
it's
other. But
important. And it's important because I feel like some people go through their lives never having known what other people mean to them. And that
mm,
is unacceptable. If you love someone, if they are an inspiration to you, if they're one of those people in your life that you have identified as a person that helps keep your dreams alive and for whom you help keep their dreams alive, You got to open your mouth and you got to tell them.
That is so true.
That's
It's
like
so true.
life. That's like water to
Mhm.
an artist's soul. If they know that you are an inspiration to them, get out. Like
Yeah.
that just honestly, that just takes a big old inspiration syringe, shoves it in my heart and makes it explode in good ways.
Exploding heart.
Yeah, it
In a
does.
good way. Honestly, like I feel like you you truly don't know like how much this has meant to me. The podcast has meant like
Mhm.
and just your friendship over the years and encouraging me. We've talked before about my middle school days were not so good. And Carrie is one of the only people that I still know from that time, and has witnessed that and spoken into my life and encouraged me. I have another friend recently that I've been able to talk to, but it's like seeing having someone who's witnessed your life for that long is
Mhm.
huge as well.
Yep.
Um, and like I said, my parents being just ridiculous about, well, it's because you're good at this and you know, um I have many other folks as well. But we talked about gratitude a couple
Mhm.
episodes ago. Yeah, it's like a challenge I have for y'all to go tell those people and go find them. I think we've talked about being creative. It's a lonely place sometimes.
Mhm.
Go seek out the people who are living that beautiful life full of love and encouraging others. And we're not all insane. Um,
Yep.
some of us are a little bit. Okay, this was not planned, but I have a story that I remember from speaking of people who are not this way. Um, my theater days, I used to know this girl who has like friended me and defriended me on Facebook so many times. I see her and she's like nice and whatever. She used to be like, anytime I would get cast in the next show, because we were at the same theater, and if I had a better part than her, she would be nice to me in the next show. Like she would be nice to me from the point of casting. And if I had a part that wasn't as good as hers, she would stop talking to me. um,
Oh.
and we had doubles in this is hilarious to me. I'm sorry. We had doubles in shows. So like, I'd play a part for half the shows and the double would play the other half. So she was in Footloose. She hated her double and she would hide her quick change clothes every couple weeks.
So the double couldn't have the change of clothes?
Yep. So she'd have to like be late or run to find wherever she hid them.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
That is some
Yeah.
serious, serious sabotage right
Yep.
there.
So there was a time where I was like, maybe I don't want to do theater anymore because these people are insane. And there were many other stories from other people of being like that. But you know what? Not all performers are crazy. So go find your people. She has defriended me again. I think it's been years now that she
I
has
wonder
defriended
I
me.
wonder what I wonder what made her heart hurt so bad that she felt like she had to do that to her double and also friend and defriend you so many times. Like I wonder how is she hurting? I mean,
You
that's
know, I've thought about that and all the times she was speaking to me, tried to be kind, but sometimes you're like, all right, well, that's just what you're gonna do,
yeah,
and here you are. But not everyone is like that. Go find your folks
find
and
your
be like
folks.
you said, be that for them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Reflect it back. Because man, that was like a shot in the arm. And here's what it did for me. I love teaching. I love all the jobs I'm doing. But I think singing is the main thing for me. And and this made me feel like it could be that that could be real. Like, do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Instead of having to do everything else. The teaching, I think, will always be a part of my life, but it just made me like, oh, it's possible to move in love and gratitude, enjoy your life, make your money, affect other people around you. It gave me hope,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and hope is such a thing that, man, when you lose it, you know.
Hmm.
And yeah, hope, I think, for artists is one of those things that you guard within an inch of your life.
That is so true.
You have to,
Yep.
because when you lose hope, it all kind of goes out the window. So yeah, if you can have people in your life that also believe in hope for you and for themselves, that's huge.
I also think, you have to guard it. I love that. I don't think you have to manage it though.
Hmm.
And I think I've always felt like the dream thing, like you have to manage what you could hope for.
Mhm.
Because if you hope too much, you'll be
Hmm.
disappointed. But you could still let that love and hope and dream drive you. But you do have to guard it with everything you have so that no one can get in there and steal it,
So you're
you know?
saying guard it, but let it be wild. Let it
Yes.
be, it's almost like hope is a green, wild thing that if you can let it be its wild self, you have to still protect it, but you don't tell green things how to grow, do you? You just sort of
Mm-mm.
like give them what they need and then like back off, lady. You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, I love that so much. I just saw like a little picture in my mind of lattice with like vines growing all
Mhm.
over it, but with like a little cover of like a fence or something to just kind
Yeah.
of like keep it so that no one can come and hack it down.
Mhm.
But you've got to just let it grow wild.
Mhm.
Dream and hope. What else do we have other than just letting our hope and love grow wild so that we can help other people with that as well?
I
That's what
love
I
that,
think.
friend.
Oh man. Well, this was a good one.
Ooh,
You
boy,
know it's a good one when I cried 5 times.
yeah. There's something about being like, we're doing it live and we're not cutting one damn thing out of this thing that really kind of brings everything to the surface. And you're like, all right, put your helmet on, strap yourself into your seatbelt. We are going balls to the wall. You never know what's going to come out. And yeah, emotions are close to the surface. It kind of does change the dynamic of an episode,
Yes.
knowing that you are not going to take the scissors to it.
Nope.
I kind of
Just
like
let
it.
it be that wild green thing.
We're letting it be the wild green thing. I think you're so right. Yeah.
As I wave my nails in the camera. Those are like my crazy eyebrows, the way that I put them up there. Okay.
I love it.
I love it too. And I love you, friend.
I
You're
love
just so
you
great.
too, friend. This is me. You can't see me, but my arms are out wide. I'm crouching down, wanting to
Yes.
hug you.
Run, 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 run,
Yes,
run to
that's
that
right.
joy.
And
Through
you
the fear to the joy.
you too, dear listener. Here we are so grateful for you, and thank you for going on this green wild journey with us to where we don't know where, but we're going anyway.
Into the unknown. I can't like
Oh, and
mesh
that
the
song.
things that
Oh my
she's saying
gosh.
though.
Yeah. Talk about epic songs. That belongs in that list. Oh,
Yes. Yes.
all right, Emily.
Well, Curry,
Emily.
we're out of here.
Yeah, we are. All right. Until next week, friends, go find your inspirational, hopeful person and be that for them too.
Honestly, dear listener. Woo!